A lot of good things here. We have the basics covered: 10 toes forward, grip with door knocking knuckles, really nice hips and lower half generating power, the bat path with hands inside the ball, and a stiff front leg. Here's our view of the toes and door knocking knuckles lined up. There's a little bit of head movement, but overall a really great swing. A nice load. That load ends up having the head dip a little bit, and so we'd like to see if we can accomplish the same load with a little quieter head movement. These swings show the player with kind of a narrow stance and a shorter stride. Asked him to consider maybe lengthening that stride to kind of give him more room for his hips to work, and that's what actually shows up in the first couple of clips, that we've lengthened his stride. Another really nice swing, 10 toes forward, door knocking knuckles lined up, the basics covered. A really nice load here, getting into his hips, nice powerful hip movement, and really using the lower half. Player gives us an example to teach something that really applies to all of the players on the team. It's the alignment on tee work. So you'll notice his stride ends up out in front of the tee, and he's hitting middle pitch. So that middle pitch we want to hit off of the front foot. So if we moved him back in the box, and we can kind of see with that red line where his stride is out in front of the ball, and it's going to cause, you'll see his torso to really lean back, and his shoulders have to shrug right here to create enough room to make contact. So we just move him back in the box compared to where the tee is, and there you can see his shoulders shrugged. He'll be able to make contact and kind of extend through the ball, instead of this action where he kind of leans back and shrugs his shoulders in order to make contact. So just an alignment thing to teach. Middle fastball, middle of the plate, we want that off of our front foot, so we need to move him back in the box when he's hitting the pitch down the middle. We'll end with just great swings, nice power there, and then you can see a great stiff front side and really using his lower half. Great job. Player 3 has a nice balanced athletic stance. We do note that his back foot is turned out a little bit. The 5 toes on his front foot are facing the plate, but his back knee and his back foot are turned out slightly, although that doesn't seem to impact getting his hips through. Also, his door knocking knuckles slightly misaligned. We'd like to see him move his wrists a little bit closer together. So we see a nice load. His finish seems to bring his hands around his body pretty quickly, as opposed to getting through the ball and extending the barrel through the zone. Player's really doing a great job using his lower half into a stiff front side to generate power using his hips. Player 4 has another nice compact athletic swing. The 2 different colors on his shoes really make it easy to highlight. His back foot is also turned out a little bit. I would like to see 10 toes forward and have his 5 toes on his back foot facing the plate. Really nice job here with his door knocking knuckles lined up. He's got his wrist cocked and ready to go, and does a nice job getting his hips through against the stiff front side to generate power. The one thing we might consider tweaking is that he has a timing mechanism, that leg lift there, but not much coil in his load. So if we started his hands a little bit lower in his stance, it would give his hands a chance to move back and up a little bit, kind of setting his core ready to go attack the ball. His hands start so far back that he doesn't have a lot of room to really coil and load into his backside. Player number 5 is newer to the team and the program. Really strong, powerful young man. Nice compact swing. We'd like to see him work on 3 things: developing a load. We'll see here in the next frame, it's just kind of a drift forward, so we can get him to load. The next piece is getting him comfortable with his lower half. His feet dance around a little bit, so getting his lower half a little bit stable. But there's nice knee to knee at finish there, so just promoting that a little bit. Something with alignment for tee work that all of the players could benefit from, making sure that they can reach in a powerful position a pitch away, and then align themselves and hit the ball up the middle. This young man and several others would kind of back away so that they could extend their arms for the pitch down the middle, but that leaves them in a position where they're creating a swing path for pitch down the middle in a stance that doesn't allow them to hit the pitch away. Again, a lot of positives here. A nice, simple, compact swing. Has the stance basics, balanced, 10 toes forward, and door knocking knuckles lined up. Good posture. A really good athletic young man. Nice job here. Player 6, our lefty here, nice swing. We show a great lower half here, hip action into a stiff front side, doing a nice job there. We had a conversation about if we lowered his hands in his stance, it would give him some room to load, either backing up or just back to set his hands into the position where he's actually starting. So if he was relaxed a little bit and allowed those hands to kind of, take a deep breath and settle where they'd be comfortable, it'd give him some room to kind of load into his backside. There's a little bit of a leg lift and a drift, but not necessarily as much coil and load as we might like to see. There's a tendency on a couple swings to close himself off, just by a few inches, and to get his back foot pointed out. But that shows up only some of the time. So this is one of those examples. As we zoom in here on his stance, we'll see that he's turned back a little bit, back foot. Those toes aren't pointed toward the plate, and a little bit of knuckle misalignment. We'd like to see his wrists come closer together so he's cocked and ready to go. So we'll end here by showing him with just a great swing. The leg lift does, gather his weight back, and then he's coming forward using the hips and stiff front side and doing a nice job extending through the ball. So player 7, nice powerful swing. We talked to him about just a couple of tweaks. One is his front side. So we'd like his left leg to end up in a stiff position to transfer that power into his swing. And then his barrel's wrapped around his head a little bit. You see the dotted line there where his barrel is pointing, making his swing a little bit long. So if we shorten that up a little bit and stiffen the front side, have a great swing. We placed a ball just behind his back foot to give him a little bit of a target. Instead, if we treat the knob of the bat like a flashlight, we want to just move it back so we shine that light on top of the ball so that we're not wrapping the barrel quite so much. So now we'll look at him on the tee. Very consistent and just looking to clean up a few minor little things, but nice athletic swing, generating some good power. Look at his toes, and his door knocking knuckles lined up really well there. Everything's looking really, really good. Nice job. So player 8, tall guy who has a narrow stance, which is fine. That's where he's comfortable. And we asked him to consider just lengthening his stride a little bit. You can see in these swings, it's almost like his feet aren't far enough apart to allow his hips to really fire. So in this swing, it's just maybe 4 to 6 inches extra stride length, but it really allowed him to kind of get into his hips and generate some power. So his 10 toes forward, door knocking knuckles not quite lined up, so we did talk to him about paying attention to that a little bit, but really nice athletic swing and a big guy who's able to generate some power. Player 9 has a really good textbook stance here, lower half. Knees are slightly inside, kind of getting himself loaded up there, 10 toes forward. We would like to see his door knocking knuckles lined up a little bit, move his wrists a little closer together so he's a little bit cocked. But the rest of it's really, really nice. Does a good job of generating power with his lower half into a stiff front side. There is a spot where his barrel, like one of the earlier players, his hands sort of seem to work around his body pretty quickly. You can see him lean back here, and then his hands seem to get off the ball and go to sort of finish pretty quickly. See if we can get him to swing and generate some power through the ball before he's quickly bringing the barrel toward us on his backside. But in general, a great swing, and another guy who's doing a great job generating power with his lower half into a stiff front side and doing a good job making contact. Player 10, just a nice simple stance, nice simple swing, hands at the top of the zone, door knocking knuckles lined up. Maybe we can get the bat a little bit more into his fingers and his top hand, but just a slight adjustment. 10 toes forward, nice and balanced, and then a nice compact powerful swing into a stiff front side there. We could maybe see him either widen out a little bit in his stance, just a couple inches, or get a little bit longer stride to give himself an opportunity to maybe generate a little bit more power, but otherwise a very, very nice swing. Our final player, player 11, another nice athletic swing, balanced stance, 10 toes forward, door knocking knuckles lined up. And we see that there. We'll kind of go frame by frame with this hitter to point out the positives of that lower half. Stiff front side and good hip action into that stiff front side. So we'll watch him here, load up and move through the ball, and then we'll take it frame by frame. So he's in his power position, he's gotten loaded. Now he's starting to move that back knee toward the front knee to generate some power. He's got a nice bat lag, taking the knob of the bat through on the inside of the ball at contact, and now we show that stiff front side and the back knee driving into that front side to generate power. Coming through the ball, and he has a little bit of that tendency to come off the ball and work his bat around his body instead of extending the barrel through the ball. But that's common with a few of the players on the team. Nice job overall.